We are going to take notes on lesson 6, write linear equations. Get your note packet ready. If you're taking notes in your learning log, get that ready. Title needs to be written. Learning target needs to be written or filled in. I can write linear equations in point slope form and slope intercept form. So we're going to learn a new form today and then turn that new form into an old form that we've been working with. Just a couple of things to clear up before we start. What is a linear equation? A linear equation is an equation of a line. So we've been working with different forms of linear equations to build lines that go on the coordinate planes. Remember, at any time you can pause if I'm going too fast and then hit play when you're ready to go again. What linear equation forms do we know? All right, let's review the ones that we've already talked about. Slope-intercept form, we talked about that. Remember that slope-intercept form is written as, let me get my pen here, y equals mx plus b. And maybe label your parts. I'm not going to label them, but I recommend you label them. M is your slope. That's how the line moves. And b is your y-intercept. That's where the line crosses the y-axis. Then we learned standard form. Standard form is written with a capital AX plus a capital BY equals capital C. And from standard form, we can get the intercepts to build our line. All right, so our third form that we're talking about today is point slope form. What is point slope form? I have it written out for you here. So copy this down. Parenthesis y minus y1 equals m times parenthesis x minus x1. So basically for point slope form, you need to be given m, which is your slope, and you need to be given x1, y1, which is your point. Hence the name, point slope form. Okay, so let's see how we create point slope form when given slope and a point. Slope is 1/2. We're down here in this final box. Slope is 1/2, and the line passes through the point -1, 2. All right, so always start by writing your form out with all the variables because we're just going to substitute in, so that makes it easier to see where you put your pieces. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right, m is slope, so I know that my 1/2 is going to go where m is. And then the point I have is -1, 2. So just for a reminder for yourself, -1 is your x1, not just your x1, and 2 is your y1. So when you substitute it in, which I already have written out here, y stays the same. That did not change. -2. It's a positive 2, but when you substitute it in, that subtraction stays there, okay? Equals, m becomes 1/2, parenthesis, x stays the same, and then you have a +1. Now, I know some of you are saying, but Mrs. Benoit, it's a -1. I know that, but we're subtracting a -1. You do this on the side here. We're subtracting a -1. And we learned that subtraction means opposite. So the opposite of a -1 is a +1. All right, so this right here is your point slope form. That's it. You're done. So when you have slope and you have a point, it's just a matter of doing that substitution. Let's try another one. All right, how do I get the slope and point from point slope form? So we're actually going to work backwards on this one. We'll try another one in just a second. So this one's already written out in point slope form. Y minus 7 equals 3 times parentheses x minus 3. Okay, so I'm going to write point slope form over here so I remember what it looks like from the previous page. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right, m. M is found in front of the X parenthesis, right? So my M looks to be a positive 3. But remember, we're going to write slope as a ratio, a rise over a run. So 3 is the rise, and we're going to put that over 1, which is the run. Okay? And then the point that it passes through, let me grab a different color here. I have my X1 and my Y1. I've circled those. So positive 3, positive 7. Now again, some of you might be saying, Mrs. Benoit, it's a negative 3 and a negative 7. But remember, when you substitute them in, you're substituting them in with the subtraction in there. So when you pull them out, they're basically their opposite. It looks like a negative 3 in there. It's a positive 3. It looks like a negative 7. It's a positive 7. Just take the opposite, okay? Now, we're going to take this a step further, actually. I'm going to make you use your brains a little bit more here. And we're going to take this point slope form, y minus 7 equals 3 times x minus 3. And we're going to change that to slope intercept form. Just because, okay? So let's see here. Slope intercept form, let me remind myself. Slope intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Okay. And right now I have y minus 7. So it's not at y equals, but I also on the right side, I have the 3 outside of a parentheses. Well, I need to do some distribution first. This goes back to our equations unit and collecting like terms and simplifying. So we're going to simplify on the right side by distributing that 3 to both terms. 3 times 1x and 3 times negative 3. Y minus 7 stays the same. 3 times 1x is 3x. 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Okay. I still don't have slope intercept form because I have y minus 7. I just need y equals. What am I going to do with that minus 7? Just erase it? No. We're going to move it to the other side of the equation by creating a 0 pair. So that's a negative 7. What would make 0 with a negative 7? Yes, indeed, a positive 7. All right, so we're going to add 7 to both sides. And when we do that, I'm going to have to write it over here. I'm out of space. We're going to get y equals 3x. Negative 9 plus 7, that's a battle. You have a negative and a positive. 3x minus 2, because negative 9 wins the battle. So we had point slope form, and we ended with slope intercept form. These two equations are for the same line. And what can you tell me about this line? Well, if you look at the slope is positive, right? So write that in your notes. The slope is positive. And if the slope is positive, is the line increasing or decreasing? It's increasing. You write those down. I'm not going to. Okay, let's do 2 more. Point slope form in this box here. Let's write point slope form. So we're going to do the substituting in. Always start by writing your equations. You can just substitute in below. Okay, so my y stays the same. My y1 is positive 7. So when I substitute that in, now it looks like a negative 7. My m is 1/5. X stays the same. My x1 is positive 10. So when I substitute it in, now it looks like negative 10. That's it. Now you've got point slope form. Let's do one more. The box next to it. So go ahead and do this to those 2 boxes there. All right, slope intercept form. Start with the form y equals mx plus b. All you have to do is substitute in. Y stays y. What's m? What's B? That's it. Okay, so there's substitution galore, but the trickiest part is going to be what we did here, going from one form to the other. And believe me, we'll do plenty of practice of that in class. All right, bring these notes to class, upload a photo of these notes to get credit for your assignment, and we'll get started on the practice.